Hey, what's up, all my witches and wizards out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming back at you again with another episode review of The Owl House. This time it is Season 1's Episode 12, titled Adventures in the Elements. As Ida has gained a mess of new human valuables. And this first part with Ida actually is kind of really Ida is in rare form today because, man, there's something just really attractive about Ida. I cannot deny it. I love me an older woman with King gaining a new army of stuffed critters and so on and so forth, whereas Luz is more interested in the brochure from Hexside, as she is thrilled at the prospect of actually being enrolled in a school for witchcraft and wizardry. No trademark infringement when it comes to Harry Potter, I think. But when she goes off to get her Yozora book from Amity, which I'm glad they're really keeping on track with their continuity. Usually you don't see a lot of that. They could have done this off screen, but it's a nice way of bringing Amity back in. As well as continuing on with the growing friendship that has been blossoming between Amity and Luz. Friendship, or maybe something more, as we see that Amity is actually accompanied by her elder twin siblings, e- Emira and Edric. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce their names. I'm pretty sure. And, we actually get to see that Emily really did dig the book as she actually drew some fan art of her and I guess the main love interest, which of course Amity is embarrassed by. But, Luz then lets Amity know that she's actually going to be enrolling in Hexside with the hope of them both being in the same class and even starting a Yozora book club. But Amity lets her know that it has a two spell requirement and isn't quite sure if Luz actually knows two spells. Though the twins kind of goad in the fact that, oh, she must know two spells. She wouldn't dare go into a magic school only knowing one, or else she'd end up in the baby class for babies. I swear that pamphlet killed me. It's just like, it seems like the text on this pamphlet changes from scene to scene, because I swear that wasn't originally there. But you know, when they actually suggest maybe they could all go together and practice their magics, Lou says that, no, I've got powerful spells by my powerful teacher and powerful training and so powerful, knows so many spells and abilities. So she's unfortunately trying her best to actually impress her new witch friends, so she doesn't want to look lame in front of them. But she ends up heading off to Ida to try to get Ida to teach her some new magic, finally. Which is, it's strange that Ida has yet to actually teach Luz more magic than this, because she only ever did the one demonstration, and that was about it. You think Luz would at least learn potion craft by now, considering that seems to be Ida's almost specialty, because even in this episode we open up, well, don't open up, but when she comes into this scene, Ida's working on potions to bring inanimate objects to life. It's just like, yeah, wouldn't it be potion crafting? But, Luz manipulates Ida through her ego, and Ida rolls with it. So they end up heading to the knee of the Boiling Isle, the highest point on the isle, and an ancient land where witches and wizards first learn the mastery of magic. I love lore like that, so spooky and mysterious. But they also have to beware of the Snaggleback. I think it's called the Snaggleback beast. Uh, a certain kind of creature that, no, it's the Slither beast. And it's a creature that, as long as you don't F with it, it won't F with you. Like most wildlife out there, honestly. But this is also a training ground for Amity and her siblings. Because they said they were going to go train, and Ida's going on about how this is a great place to train your magic. So why wouldn't they be there? Especially if it's so easy to get to. So Ida tries to play along with Luz's ruse of being like, oh yeah, she's so powerful, she knows so much magic, so great, blah blah blah. Whereas Amity, through mostly her twins just trying to at every turn to embarrass her, is actually learning with a training wand. So that actually reveals something. The stages kind of seem to go like this. You get a training wand, which has its own internal magic, which helps to boost yours or activate certain spells for you. Then you're able to do it yourself through hand motions and gestures. And then, if you're powerful enough, you can even upgrade your abilities with a staff. So that's actually interesting. It really just helps to develop the hierarchy of how this world works. However, Ida's methods are less than conventional, I guess you could say, and I really do love this moment where she just got all this snow stuffed in her mouth. But the effort is in order to teach Luz a little something something. So whereas Amity looks powerful, but it's through the use of the training wand, which is boosting her abilities, you know, Luz has a lot to learn. Meanwhile, King wants to create his own boot camp and be his own teacher, so he gets this legion of stuffed animals together, but nothing really comes of that at the moment. But Ida tries to instill within Luz that she needs to tap into the magic abilities of the island in order to be able to actually learn. It's only through that Luz will actually be able to gain more power. So she leaves her up on this ridge in order to get her to just sit down and concentrate and just tap into that power just like before. But as she's left on her own, Luz just kind of starts to think to herself about the fact that it just seems like this magical power is never going to come to her and she's just going to end up in the baby class for babies. But then she spots a discarded training wand and Magic 101 book that Amity leaves behind. Meanwhile, speaking of people getting in over their head, King takes the potion that so many words, so many names that Ida was working on earlier and douses all the toys with, and he commands them to gather him snacks. However, his rather mean spirited way of speaking to the toys, it starts to become obvious they're about to go Chucky on him. Meanwhile, we see that Edric has captured a bat that he either wants to eat or befriend. It's pretty up in the air at this point, although his sisters don't want his dumb self to get bitten by the damn thing. Meanwhile, Luz ends up taking Amity's book and wand, even going so far as to see that Amity really just loves to draw, and I love the do not steal sign in the bottom. But magic star beam indeed. But through the power of the training one, Luz is actually able to use yet another spell. But Ida insists that Luz does not require that. Only through proper training and patience will she actually be able to actually use her magical abilities since, magic doesn't really work the same way for her as other witches. And she's trying to get Luz to understand that. However, when Luz tries to show off her spell again, because of the low battery of the training wand, I don't know how low battery would affect this, but the spell goes out of control and ends up hitting the Slither Beast, who goes on a rampage, especially when it notices that the spell came from Luz. But when Ida pushes Luz out of the way to protect her, the Slither Beast manages to capture Ida. And when she comes in, Amity's none too happy about seeing Luz with her wand and her book. But then they realize, oh, Slither Beast. And so in come the twins to try to restrain the beast with their spells. With Amity trying to go in with a powerful fire blast, unfortunately, because the wand doesn't have the magical energy to, put that out there, she's unable to cast the spell, and is none too happy with Luz using up all the power. But when the twins ask Luz to use one of her powerful magics, Luz admits that she doesn't have any other spells, and so the twins end up getting captured as well as their slither beast slithers out. He doesn't, it's not even a slithery beast. It runs. It has sharp teeth. I would have called it like a snaggle beast or something. Although I think that might be copyrighted to something else. It looks like a friggin' Wumpa. But as King revels in all the snacks that his toy army has been bringing, he shares it mostly with his one bunny companion more than the other toys, and continues to talk down to the toys in general. But of course, this ends up in a revolt. Meanwhile, Amity traps Luz within a barrier in order to keep her safe since, she doesn't know any other spells and, going after the Slither Beast will be dangerous. So, with nowhere to go and nothing to do, Luz laments the fact that she still only knows the one spell. But as the light spell drifts off into the heavens, she notices the symbol for the light spell in the very stars themselves. A very beautiful imagery. And she notices the new spell in the very snowflakes themselves. A spell for ice magic. And with that spell in mind, that new glyph in mind, she is now able to use ice magic. I love it. I love the way that Luz actually manages to learn. It's always so different and cool. And so with that, Luz creates a massive ice glyph and is able to bound her way out of the barrier. Meanwhile, King is really caught up in a revolt, and Hootie's not willing to help out since he wasn't invited to be part of King's militia. But when King creates a body for Hootie, he goes in on the warpath on King's behalf. Meanwhile, Luz makes her way to the lair of the Slither Beast and makes her way up to Ida and the twins, apologizing to Ida and saying that she's managed to figure things out and she'll get them out of this situation, teaming up with Amity with a plan. So while Luz lures the Slither Beast out of the cave, Amity comes in to try to free everyone, managing to actually cast her first fire spell by herself to free everyone. So while Luz ends up cornered by the Slither Beast, she reveals that it was actually a trap, activating her ice spell and sending the beast crashing to the ground. And with an assist from Ida with a sleep spell, they're able to finally bring the beast down, with Luz overjoyed that she's managed to learn her second spell. And the twins congratulating Amity on learning the fire spell, all on her own. Well, not all on her own, but after all this time. With Luz and Amity taking solace in the fact that they actually very well will end up being in the same class, and even possibly starting a Yozora book club. And so Ida and her mentor bound off with Luz's new spell because they're both a couple of weirdos. Meanwhile, speaking of weirdos, Hootie and King revel in their carnage of their victory, only for Ida and Luz to arrive home wondering what the heck happened, causing the moment of King and Hootie bonding to be lost, which is especially weird because King and Hootie are both voiced by Alex Hirsch, so it's just like, dude, what the heck? But a nice, fun episode. Luz has learned her second spell. That's so great. I'm so happy for her. And the bond between her and Amity has grown even closer. I can't wait to see what more spells that Luz is able to learn and how much more powerful these pair of witches will truly become. But tell me your thoughts and feelings in the comment section below. What did you think about Luz's second spell being an ice spell? Would you have preferred it to be something else? And what do you think about Amity learning fire? They turn out to kind of be opposite ends of things, with Luz's spells always being a little bit more different than the spells that Amity learns. But at the same time, it feels like they kind of complement each other. And I hope we keep on this path of them both learning spells that are kind of opposites to each other in a certain way. But again, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, comment, bell, whatever you feel. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye bye.